Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanam Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. The spiritual practice is subjective one, not objective. When we say objective, what is to be understood is we don't develop some values externally and get attached to it. And then following that values to which I have got attached, living those values with that, phonetic attachment is treated by most of us as being spiritual. He says, no, that's not being spiritual. That is not the way you go about. You have to go within. Opposite of that is becoming subjective. So you don't develop a value system from external. And in that process, once you start moving a little in the spiritual path, the greatest obstacle that you would encounter, the big obstacle that you encounter is the personality of the guru. The teacher's charm, the beauty, that arresting nature of his personality becomes the biggest obstacle. Therefore, he is cautioning in the beginning itself that learn to segregate the two. Don't mix up the personality of the teacher and the teaching. He will become a problem for you. What is this? What happens is that objective mind means the mind which is looking outside. The mind which is looking outside will consider someone to be great, someone to be bigger. And then we just follow whatever they say. Like the advertisements we see. This Treatise company, they are known for making two-stroke engine. The company launched this four-stroke engine, which is this Treatise Victor. For that, the brand ambassador was Sachin Tendulkar. And Sachin Tendulkar doesn't know how to ride a bike. He knows car driving, but he doesn't know how to ride a bike. But he is the one who is endorsing it. Why? Because we all have a great value for that personality. So when he endorses, all of you buy TVS Victor, that's a good, bike. All of us will go on buy. Suppose if I say, all of you buy, first of all, how many of you people will buy this? Forget about others. I say that you stick to Vedanta, don't talk all this. This is the danger. The moment you start considering some, that is being objective. Because we have this tendency, and the world of marketing capitalizes on this weakness of humanity. This human mind has this weakness, and it works. I'm not saying they should not do it. That's not my job. That is what marketing agency will do. they will try to capitalize on these things. So they endorse. Now that same mind is what you are carrying when you come to the spiritual field. Here, what are we going to do? You are going to look at someone as big, someone as great. Then what we will do, sir? All of us starts functioning in a particular way. That is what he is saying. See, so don't fall for that trap, he says. You need a tremendous courage to develop a conviction of your own and follow your conviction. Only then you will grow spiritually. You need a tremendous stand to say, because the moment you put someone in a higher pedestal, subconsciously you put yourself in a lower pedestal. You're not saying it directly, and it will look very humble. It will look like humility. You see, all that will have a great appearance of all this, but it's not real. It's not authentic humility. It is manufactured humility. How? By putting someone in a higher pedestal, you start behaving. That's not humility. Humility is how you are humble with reference to people who are equal to you. See, you can be humble with people who are higher than you. Vast majority. If you are a cunning, manipulative personality, you will start behaving humble with people who are lower than you. But it is so difficult for you to be humble towards people who are equal to you. That is true humility, remember. So when you put someone on a higher pedestal, automatically this comes into picture. I start putting. So this is not being spiritual. The spirituality means a platform of equality. From the beginning, remember, it is not that it starts with unequal, subsequently concludes with equality. That is not possible. The teacher and the student stand on equal plane. The teacher looks at the student. He doesn't consider him as inferior. He treats him as divinity personified. He looks at your potential. That is why a teacher calls you Buddha, fool. When a teacher says fool, you got to be happy. You see, you should feel happy about it. Why? Because he is conceiving, he is perceiving the potential in you. And you are wasting that potential. Therefore, he is calling. So he looks at your potential first. He doesn't see your current position. Where are you right now? That is not his point. His point is, what is your potential? That's why the spiritual practices we have called upasana. Upasana means sit near. You are sitting very near to God. You are so close, you are buddies. You share the seat with God. That is called bhakti. Subsequently, it was called as bhakti. The Vedic language is not bhakti. Vedic language is upasana. Beautiful word. Upasana. You sit near. There, you must have the courage to challenge. Not with arrogance, please. Okay. Don't take me wrong. You must have the courage to question, why should I be doing what he is doing? Why not he do what I do? Why should I follow the cover drive style of Rahul Dravid. Why not Rahul Dravid follow mine? When anyone asks that, he excels in the field of cricket as a batsman. If a fellow says, I'm going to follow what, follow, you will be putting yourself down. Then what will happen is you will start looking at the personality more and more and more. Slowly, you will become oblivious to the teachings of this. And between the two, the teacher and the teaching, what you can understand is the teaching, not the teacher. You can understand only the teachings of the master. You can never understand the master. It is not possible. The teachers can never be understood. This acharyas, you cannot understand that acharya. It is not possible. But all of us will be interested only to know what is that acharya doing. What is he doing? What is he doing? We have that inquisitiveness to probe. Now, what is he doing? You can understand from two positions of this. Either he is in a position of a sadhaka. The guru, when he was a sadhak, what he did, as a sadhak, what he did, what he was doing, as a siddha, what he is doing. As a person who is in the path of realization, what he was doing, what he did. As a person who is realized what he is doing now. Can you do both? Both you can't follow. You can neither do what he did as his effort, his sadhana, nor can you do what? How he is living his life as siddha, as realist. Then why are you looking at him? This is the understanding. This is what we do. We say, you don't mix up the teacher means, what is mixing up the teacher? You start giving more attention to the teacher's personality than to the teaching. We start valuing the teacher. We start imitating the teacher. Don't mix up. Don't behave like a child. Don't be childish. Children do that, you know. What do? They look at what the parents are doing. The child will never listen to what the parents say. This is where it gets really confusing for the parents. Parenting becomes complex, complicated. Why? See, about 2 generations back, nobody was talking about parenting. Forget about the audience. Even no teacher was talking about parenting and all. You go through this, lectures of Swami Vivekananda. 7 volumes are there. You see how many places Vivekananda had spoken about parenting. How many lectures he has given on parenting. Ramatirtha, how many lectures he has given on parenting. Ramana Krishnensis is there. Gospel of Ramakrishna is there. Look at all that. Has anybody spoken about parenting? Now, suddenly today you see, every question answer session we have, it's a standard one. Everywhere people keep asking. And one of the best sellers of this, tapes, of Swamiji's, CDs is Art of Parenting. We bring 10 CDs, all 10 will get sold in the first 2 days itself. We get 20 CDs, the 20 CDs get sold. We get 50 gets sold. Sells like. Why? Because everyone is confused in terms of parenting. How to parent, how to parent, how to parent. Parenting has become such a big issue now. How you got parented by your parents, you won't even remember actually. When was they saying we are also living in the same house? They were also living in the same house. So he is doing his job and we were doing our own job. You see, no parenting at all actually. But now it is. Why? Because a parent, as children, they keep observing others and start imitating. They keep looking at you. They don't hear what you say. They just do what you are doing. And what you are doing, your doings and all is happening at a different plane. What you are saying is for the child. What he is supposed to do at his stage, it's very different. Like as I'm speaking, all of you, some of you may be writing. Okay, don't just start writing. Whatever I talk, it doesn't matter. Makes sense or doesn't make sense. Simply write. For 1 minute, you just write. Parenting is an art. Parenting is such a complex scenario these days. Parenting was not a great query or great wonderment or in the mind of every new couple. Parenting, nothing of this sort. You just keep writing, and say, now every child has this tendency to observe and imitate the behaviors of the parents. Now you stop writing. How were you writing? You took a pen, there was a paper, you just started writing, correct? But how did the teacher taught you to write? First, they taught you alphabet. A, B, C. And then they said word. Cat, rat, bat. To understand a sound. Like that they went on, word by word by word. And then you started writing a sentence. My name is Ishwaran. Right. Then what do? They said, you have to write M, Y. And then they said what? Keep a finger. Keep a finger. M, Y. Place a finger. And then write name. Finger is finger Ishwaran. Full stop. Finger. Next sentence. Where are you doing it now? Did you do that now? Where about a minute back when I asked you all to write, where are you placing your finger? You're just writing, right? Now imagine a child looks at you and challenges and says, hey, you don't place the finger, but you're asking me to place a finger. What will happen? That child's handwriting will be like my handwriting. You can never get a legitimate handwriting, legible. Sometimes I myself get confused. What I have written. Why? Because there is no problem. When you are learning, the rules are very different. After you have learned, the rules are very different. Shakespeare can afford to break grammar. Milton can afford to break the grammar. Kalidasa can break grammar. Kamban can break grammar. They can. They have the license to break grammar, but still they will be considered as great. Suppose if you make a grammatical error. No, that is cheating, no. If they break, that is appreciated and accepted. If we break, we are scolded. There is a difference. This the child will not understand. But being an adult now, you don't continue to do the same mistake when you come to spiritual. Don't behave like a child. What is behaving childish? All of us keep asking this one question, isn't it? As though it is such a great value. You should practice what you preach, isn't it? Are you practicing what you preach? What were you preaching? Keep a finger. Do you practice? Huh? Can you practice? So the child will say what? See, what you are preaching and what you are practicing, there is a gap. Therefore, I don't trust you. I don't follow your preaching. It will get total confusion. Remember, if the child were to bring both together on a plate and try to understand, that's why we can't understand. That's why Ananda could not understand Buddha, because he is a regular visitor to a courtesan. He says, how can you do that? Kamal could not understand Kabir. Yeah, how are you doing it? Because Kabir, I suppose, all of you know. His son, most of you may not know. Kabir. He belongs to the weaving community. Weavers. So he'll weave one, shawl. That will take 1 week. To weave one shawl, it will take 1 week for him. Because he will start weaving, that sound will remind him of Rama, that's all. He will forget. I know, it is so slow he was doing. So weaving, if he does like that, he will finish one shawl. He will take that to the market to sell. One beggar will come. I'm shivering. I need your shawl. Can I have your shawl? He'll say, take. And he'll come back. And he is such a poverty. In that poverty, he was performing this Atiti Devo Bhava. Every day in his house, there has to be a feast for all the people there, all the devotees, the travelers, who come. He was feeding them. His son said, hey, when you are a pauper, why do you want to have all these things? You can't ask him. You see? So one day, Kamal got really annoyed. Well, Kamal's annoyment because of, he was asked to go to the neighbor's house to bring rice, ask for rice, ask for dal, ask for jaggery, ask for this one house. Kabir will not go, Kamal has to go. And when those fellows come back and ask for, money, Kabir will go and hide. Kamal has to give a reply to them. Finally, he got so annoyed one day. He said, the only thing that we have to do if you want to continue feeding people is to steal. Kabir jumped from his seat and hugged, Kamal. What a fantastic idea you gave. Why this idea didn't occur to you earlier? Kamal was like, Kamal, hey, what happened to you? Out of frustration, he said, actually. He said, what a fantastic idea. Tonight we are going and stealing from the shop, from this fellow's house. We'll go and steal. Kamal thought he is joking. He said, yeah, we'll go in the night. So in the night they went. He bored a hole, small hole they had to make, and pushed Kamal inside. Kamal thought, is at least now he will stop. Pushed him in, he said, take the rice back and give. So he took the rice back and gave it to him, dal and sugar. He has taken whatever is needed. And Kamal was about to come out. Kabir said, hey, wake that merchant. Take that Chaitya and tell him that it is we who has taken this. Say, are you mad? If they see us, they will catch and beat you black and blue because we are stealing. To which Kabir says, correct, no. We are stealing only, no. We are stealing, therefore they are beating. What's wrong in that? A thief is supposed to be beaten. So that's not wrong. So what we have done, that's what we are supposed to get. Go and say that, he says. Kamal could not understand. Now, imagine you are going to follow Kabir. Now, what are you going to do? Steal. Don't try, yeah? You can try, but can you follow all that? Till a point where you go and wake that owner and tell him that I am the one who is stealing. You cannot longer. It's not possible for us to follow the teacher. Why? Because the teacher is operating at a different plane with a different level of understanding, at a totally opposite dimension. His equations are. Our equations of life is not like that. Our equations of life is what? Our equations are 2 minus 2 is 0. His equation is what? 2 minus 2 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 2. Now, we can't understand. As far as we are concerned, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. But for him, it is totally different. We just cannot understand that. You can't understand the contradictions and accept it, digest it, and live. Don't think that only his life is in terms of contradiction. The nature of life is contradiction. It's not that he is creating contradiction in him. He is living life, and the nature of life is contradictions alone. Full of contradictions. What is the contradiction? What is that? We can't understand that. What is it we can't understand? Is you take an ignorant fellow, a grossly ignorant guy, and take him to an art gallery and show a painting and say, this is 200,000 rupees. He'll say, what? 200,000 rupees. The canvas would be 500 rupees. Painting, how much it would have costed? To get that paint, brush, this, that, all those things would have costed another 1,000 rupees. 2,500 rupees. Right. And then, of course, the painter was painting whole day. So in his house, there was a painter who came and did the wall painting. To him, he paid 750 rupees per day. He says, this is a special painter. Therefore, we'll give him skilled labor. Therefore, we pay him extra 250 rupees. So put together, it should be costing only what? 3,500 rupees. Are you mad to be paying 200,000 rupees for this? He just can't understand it. His equations of life is very different. Like Upadananda used to say, a fellow, a plumber, went to Niagara Falls. He saw that and said, I can fix it. Because he thought there's a big leakage. Seems. Niagara Falls, water is flowing. Because all his life, what he was doing, wherever water flows, he thinks there is a leakage. Now, he can't understand the beauty of it. He just cannot conceive How can? But the subtler things are more difficult for us to understand. And the subtler things are always greater, superior. Painting, poetry also. You read that poetry, don't tell who's the author and all that. Just give the poetry and ask them to read. And say, no, what is there in this? I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. All at once I saw a crowd of golden daffodils. I read that poetry. I just couldn't understand. Poetry, what is this? Turkey tired of common food, forsook the barn and sought the wood. Behind the ran an infant train, collecting here and there. So what? Okay, so now what is there in that? What is the beauty there? What is so great about that? Just can't conceive of it. You see, that's the difficulty here. And the spirituality is the subtlest, the highest dimension of life. How on earth can you understand it? Because we miss the subtler dimensions of life at our own level. At our level, we misunderstand. Isn't it we misunderstand at our level? We can't judge people at our own level. How are we going to judge people at a higher plane? Beyond all this, there is a fundamental truth behind that advice. These are all, very, very logical, very analytical dimensions and all that. But the subtle message, what he is giving there is a disciple's nature, a Sishya Bhava, a student's attitude. If you are a real student, a real disciple is one who is full of humility. He is humble. He is humble enough to say, humble in the sense, that's what I said at first. And then I moved on to some other idea. But the main top point is this. Humble means you have the courage to say, I don't understand it. Since I don't understand the way life goes about, how the whole thing is happening, I don't attempt to judge your action. From where it is coming, what is the source? I don't understand all it. Since I am not able to understand the source, the root, Gahana Karmanogati, says the Gita. The nature of action is impenetrable, man. It is so deep. It is so deep that I don't understand. Therefore, what? I am not going to attempt to judge you. But one thing I am so sure about, this is the beauty there. You can do anything. The teacher can do anything. Whatever he is doing, I know that it is good only. No matter what. It doesn't make any difference. There is no question I have, there is no doubt I have that whether his actions are good, bad, what is the intention, there is no doubts at all. I know for certain that all his actions are stemming from goodness only. And it is for the welfare of us. Whether he is taking life or he is giving his life, doesn't make any difference. Either case, it is only for good. That is a disciple. He is so clear and so sure. He is so convinced about this. And also he has a deep understanding that I don't understand. Therefore, he says, this is what? I am not going to be assessing you at all. Till I reach that plane, till I reach that position, I'm not going to be judging your action. Therefore, what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep you and your actions, the personality of the teacher and the actions of the teacher, the behavior of the teacher, the life of the teacher, totally separate from his teachings. The tragedy is the whole world is involved only in the personality of the teacher. Childish. The children are so lost, trying to understand the logic, the dynamics behind the actions of it. So we don't get into this inquiry, he says. Don't start judging them. Otherwise, you will be totally confused. Because he will say something here, he will do something opposite. He will say one thing and do exactly the opposite. And that's where it becomes a problem also for teachers over a period of time. Over a period of time, all the teachers, they start off this. But once they start getting this disciples coming in, they get enslaved by the disciples' expectations. The teacher who is starting off in a particular way, over a period of time, slowly he himself gets enslaved by the disciples. Why? Because disciples start expecting something from him. They want something from him. And they expect him to behave in a particular way. So now what he has to do, if he doesn't live up to the expectations of the disciple will check him out and go. And if the disciple goes away, what will happen to the master? Guru, if no student, we were asking, today Shankaranti, will they come? Will they have? If nobody is there, doesn't make a difference. Oh, who cares? If you come, class. If nobody is there, no class. Anyway, I'm going to be. At least, that advantage. At least the other times, I have to travel. Now there's no travel also for me. Only difference is what? I just have to change my dress. That's about it. That much of effort only I have to put in. I say, what is the big deal? If you're not there, so what? Now, the problem is we want him to be expected. You see, we expect them to talk in a particular way, talk certain subjects, certain things. We want them to behave in a particular way. We don't like them saying things. As if you see this, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's, gospel. This they were writing. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was not speaking a chaste Bengali like Rabindranath Tagore. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's words are not like, sophisticated, educated, literary scholars' language of Bengali. Ordinary Bengali only he was speaking. But when they started translating, they had to do a lot of editing. Why? Because they couldn't conceive. How can we have an Avatara Purusha talk such words? In that, the whole beauty of that word is gone. Mudamate. When Shankara says, it is music to hear. Now these people will say what? How can Shankara say Mudamate? Therefore what? Make it politically correct. You wanted to have these things. Today we have started discussing everything in the, to be unparliamentary. These words are all unparliamentary. In one school, they were telling me, sir, we don't use those words. I said, don't be stupid, I said to the student. When I was asking a question, they were answering, there was a discussion was going on. I said, don't be so stupid, don't be so naive, probe a little. And the teachers were, and suddenly all the students started looking at the teachers. I registered and they dismissed. After the session, the teachers was telling me, sir, we don't use such unparliamentary words. I said, what unparliamentary? Today we wanted to call, all this, people interview. His own son, daughter, he is referring to. He has to refer in a respectable manner. Is that the way he is talking to her in the house? But the moment you bring a mic and a camera in front, what happens? Suddenly we have to refer to them, as you know. அவங்க என்ன முடிவு பண்ணாங்களோ தெரியாது. In a respectable way, they have to say. என்ன பண்ண போற யாருக்கு தெரியும்? Go off. This is how we'll talk to them at home. Outside, you come immediately what you have to do. This artificiality. And this is expected out of the master also. How can you have such things? Can you? I remember first, when this book here, The Fall of Human Intellect, when it came. And I was doing the class, Fall of Human Intellect, first, batch, book, released. There's a portion there where he discusses 6 reasons for marriage. Right. There are 6 reasons for marriage. And one of the reasons given there was sex. This fellow, in this class only we are not reading. In the live class, what we do was we read a paragraph, explain. We read a paragraph and explain. That's what we were doing. So I told this fellow to read because I'm talking constantly, just to take some rest, for the throat. I tell someone to read in the class, so they will read. That portion came. It was such a fun to see. The whole fellow was feeling so uncomfortable. You have to read that. I said, what is there to read? I said, why he is writing? Privately he came. I got really annoyed. Annoyed in the sense, I said, there is, your mind is corrupted and perverted. See, it's just a biological urge. It's like you feel hungry, no? Do you feel any shy about it? When you feel hungry? Do you feel shy when you eat? When you grab the food and, gulp it, paku, you have, no? 6 puranpoli you have. You don't feel anything, no. Simply you keep eating, right? Huh? That too variety puranpoli you got to have. First this variety, then that variety, and then this variety. And then in between you have one vada also. Only for just to have that, different taste. All this you have, no. Do you feel anything uncomfortable about it? But look at our mind. I told him, see, it's not only him. All the others also in the class were started feeling so uncomfortable. I said, what is this? That doesn't mean we got to have one session on that, please. That's not my point. I said, that is also being stupid only. You see, you don't have a great discussion in terms of eating. You listen to music, right? What is this? Sound, sight, smell. Do you have a session for that? But the moment you say sex, what happens to all of us? But for him, what is it? It is just one more. He just presents it as a fact and moves away. But when you read, what happens? This is called expectation from the master. We expect that master to speak a particular languaging. We expect the master to behave in a particular way. We want those gurus, these acharyas, these teachers, all those people. We start dictating terms after a period of time. When we start off, it's very interesting to see. When you start off stating what? I don't know how to live my life. Please guide me. That's how you go. But having gone there, what we do? We start dictating terms to them. They should not do this. They should do this. They should do this in this particular way. Why he did that in that way? Why he said that like that? That's how we fight, isn't it? And you use a word. Why did you say that in that tone? Why not in this tone? It's the same argument we go with the teachers also. And over a period of time, the teachers gets enslaved in the same way. Like, the spider. It makes the web. It spreads the web and then it's caught there. Similarly, the teachers becomes, slaves to their own disciples over a period of time. And true master, you can't enslave them. That is why a true master we find difficult to relate to. That's what I keep saying. A master becomes known after 2 generations, not when they are alive. And not when they are there, actually. They will not be known. They will be known only after 2-3 generations. Why? Because if he is there, we cannot do all that. You cannot go to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and say, speak like Rabindranath Tagore. Look at him, how nice he speaks. You also speak like that, you can't tell him. When he is not there, I can edit. I can change the words. But in that editing, in that changing, we have destroyed something which is the real fragrance of that master, the teacher, that personality, the teachings. We destroy that. Therefore, he is cautioning in the beginning itself. Practically, what you have to do first, he says, segregate the teacher and the teaching. Now you have done. You have segregated the personality of the teacher. I'm just assuming, okay, like he is assuming in the book. Whether you are going to do it or not, we don't know. But assumption is, yes, I have understood, sir. Now I'm not going to mix up. There, now where your focus is going to be, now your focus is in a very interesting position you will be. Up to this point, he was talking about only one thing. What is it? Look within. Look within. Look within. Don't look at the teacher. Look at the teaching, he said. The teaching is inside or outside? The teaching is outside only. It's not inside. Okay. Now, what he's saying is, you have to, as a practice, the spiritual sadhana essentially means this. Remember, step 1, segregate the teacher's charm and the teaching. Don't superimpose this onto that. And then what you have to do, go through this process of study and reflection. One second. Along with that, you have to do one more thing, which is the exercise of introspection. Right? Introspection is a simpler one. So first I will deal with it, and then we will come back to the study part of it. Study and reflection part of it, we will come back. This is little relatively, this is a little simpler to recommend at least. I'll explain the next class the psychology behind it. What is the purpose? What is the role played by that exercise? Now I'm only stating what is that exercise. Introspection is an exercise where you just run through the day's activities. It's just a process of self observation, not self analysis. Remember, this is just a simple exercise of observation. When you do this, you do it in the night. Okay. How long you should do it? 5 minutes. So, what is introspection? Self-observation. You observe a day's experiences of yours. What all happened from morning till now. Now means you are about to sleep. So from morning till night, you just run through, observe the experiences. How long you should do that? Do it for 5 minutes, not more than that. In that, what is to be done? Only observation, no merit and demerit. That means no appreciation, no encouragement, no criticism also about any experience or any action of yours. Whatever you have done, whatever experience that you have had, whatever you are observing, don't start judging that. That's what he's saying here. He gives this effort of observation and non-criticism, no analytical attitude, only awareness. Awareness minus analysis is called introspection. You are just aware of what happened. You are not analyzing. Analysis means what immediately? It means either you are appreciating or criticizing. One of that you will do. Both are judgments. Remember, criticism alone is not judgment. Appreciation is also equally judging. That non-judgmental awareness exercise is called introspection. How long you do? Just do it for 5 minutes. Don't do more than that. This is you do in the night. So this study is done for getting a right understanding of life. Okay. The study and reflection of the teachings of the teacher gives you the right understanding about life. This introspection gives you bliss, peace in life. How does this introspection give peace? That is why a lot of people do only introspection. Now, this introspection exercise, you intensify and heighten that, stretch it to the extreme. That's called meditation. Now you all understand why there is so much of craze for meditation. Why is that? Because this non-analytical observation, awareness, puts your mind in a relaxed state. Because anytime you observe something, you start analyzing, there is judgmentalism comes in, that judgmentalism starts creating agitations to your mind. So when you observe without any judgment, that alertness, that awareness straight away relaxes the mind. That is why if you people, you start this, no, you'll see it. You start practicing introspection, you will start getting good sleep. Those who have, problem of sleep, try this. That's why when you go for meditation classes, most of you fall out to sleep. You start meditation, you will go to sleep. You start practicing this yoga nidra, you start doing it, you will go to sleep. Why? Because that exercise puts the mind in a relaxed state. With alertness and relaxation, you cannot stay awake for a longer period. That demands a tremendous stamina to your personality. It will straight away slip into sleep, and you will get deep sleep. It's not even a disturbed sleep you will get. You'll get a good sleep. And a lot of them, they say, sir, we don't even complete. Halfway through, we go to sleep also. We start from the morning. By evening, I remember. After that, I don't remember. I have already slept. Next day morning only, I remember. Yesterday, introspection, I didn't complete fully. I said, doesn't matter. It's okay. Why? Because introspection gives you that. Why do you need this? And in what way that is going to be helping your growth? What is the exercise for? And in what way that is connected with study and reflection, and how you are supposed to do the study and reflection, etc. These are the aspects you got to probe into it to see. But all that he says is this much. He says you have to study, separate the teacher from the teaching, study the teaching, reflect on the teaching, question and investigate the teaching, with which you get a deeper understanding of life. One hand. On the other hand, you do introspection. And you have 1 week. That's why I thought I'll tell you now. Right. This 1 week you practice. And see how many of you are awake fully to complete that introspection. You start out, you'll fall off to sleep. See, nothing wrong in that. That's what I'm saying. Don't strain yourself to be awake and all that. If you slip into sleep, just slide in. You don't worry about it. Right? You don't have to, be concerned on all that. But you have to anticipate that's what will happen. Why that happens? Relaxation. It relaxes your personality. So what is introspection, sir? Introspection is self-observation. 1. 2, no analysis. 3, do it for 5 minutes. 4, ideally you do it in the night, just before sleeping. This 4 you practice. Okay, I'll give you 1 more. Let's make it 5. Right? Why leave it as 4? 5. When you are doing introspection, you will find when you are starting the practice, you will start in the morning. But you will come. You will come right up to 8:30, 9 o'clock. What had happened on all those things. Suddenly from 9 o'clock, you will go to 11 o'clock. What happened? 11:30. Something like that. You will jump. Now, don't stop and try to go back. What happened between 9 and 11? 2 hours. It's not that you are sleeping those 2 hours. If you're sleeping, then it's okay. I had my breakfast, I felt so sleepy, I went off to sleep, I woke up at 11 o'clock. Then it is fine. Now, don't try to go backwards and forwards. That backward forward movements, why? If you remember only what happened at 11 o'clock, move from there. Suddenly you will see from 11 to 1:30 will come, from 1:30 will jump to 5 o'clock. Doesn't matter. Jump, never strain yourself to do it. Thus, you keep observing like a movie, just runs in your mind. Mentally run through the day's experiences, your actions. That's all. Don't do anything more than that. And move in one direction. The direction is clear, morning till night. So move in that direction. So keep moving thus. No forwards and backwards. These 5 points you practice. Remember this 5 and keep doing this introspection and have that experience for 1 week. So we have till next, not full week, I think. Next Tuesday we have class. Right. So whatever that 5 days that's available with you, do it and see what happens. With that, when you come to this understanding of what is the significance of it at the spiritual level, and what is the role, what happens, why you have to do these 2 things, is specifically saying as a practical exercise. Why you have to practice, study this. So study you do in the morning, introspection you do in the night. That's all. 2 exercises. One to be done in the morning, another one to be done in the night. Your day is sandwiched between these 2 exercises, study and introspection. We'll see more the next class. Thank you.